Welcome to Mindcast, the podcast that explores the ideas and innovations shaping our future. I'm your host, Will, and today we're diving into a technology that's quietly poised to reshape our world. It's not a flashy new gadget or a far-off concept from science fiction, it's a battery. But this isn't just any battery. This is about the sodium disruption, a fundamental shift in energy storage that could change everything from geopolitics to global equity. So let's get into it.
For decades, one battery has ruled them all, the lithium-ion. It powers your phone, your laptop, and the electric vehicles leading the green transition. It's the undisputed cornerstone of our modern energy economy. But as the document for today's episode points out, this dominance is built on a precarious foundation. The supply chain for lithium, along with other critical minerals like cobalt and nickel, is geographically concentrated, geopolitically sensitive, and environmentally taxing.
Let's talk geography for a moment. Over half of the world's identified lithium resources are found in South America's lithium triangle. Over 70% of the world's cobalt is mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And the refining and processing for nearly all these materials, that's dominated by China. This concentration creates fragile supply chains and immense geopolitical leverage, leading to extreme price volatility and the rise of resource nationalism. It's a bottleneck, a point of friction in our global transition to sustainable energy. But what if the core ingredient for our energy future wasn't scarce, but incredibly abundant? Enter the sodium-ion battery. Sodium and lithium are chemical cousins operating on a similar rocking chair principle. But here's the game changer. Sodium is the sixth most abundant element in the Earth's crust. It's universally accessible, found in simple rock salt and the inexhaustible reservoir of our oceans. We're talking about a material that is over 1,000 times more plentiful than lithium. This isn't just an alternative, it's a new paradigm. Of course, the idea of a sodium-ion battery isn't new. Scientists have explored it for decades, but it always lived in the shadow of its lithium counterpart. The core challenge was a scientific one. The sodium ion is significantly larger and heavier than the lithium ion. Think of it like trying to fit a tennis ball into a hole made for a marble. This makes it harder for the ion to shuttle back and forth within the battery's electrode materials. For years, this meant that sodium-ion prototypes couldn't store enough energy and wore out too quickly to be practical. But recent breakthroughs in materials science, particularly in developing new cathode and anode structures, have changed the game. Scientists are designing materials with more accommodating atomic structures, like Prussian blue analogs and layered oxides, effectively widening the holes for the sodium ions. This has dramatically improved energy density and cycle life, finally pushing sodium ion's performance to commercially viable levels. Now, this isn't about sodium ion completely replacing lithium ion. Instead, we're seeing a strategic bifurcation, a smart splitting of the market. Lithium ion will continue to dominate applications where every gram counts, like long-range electric vehicles and premium electronics, because of its superior energy density. But sodium ion is poised to conquer the vast and rapidly growing market for stationary energy storage. Think massive grid-scale battery systems, data centers, and industrial backup power. In these areas, low cost, safety, and exceptional durability are far more important than being lightweight. Let's pause on that point, because it's critical to understand the scale of this opportunity. The biggest challenge for renewable energy sources like solar and wind is intermittency. The sun doesn't always shine, and the wind doesn't always blow. A stable electric grid, however, requires a constant, reliable supply of energy, perfectly matching supply with demand every second of the day. This is where stationary storage becomes the linchpin of the entire green transition. By absorbing vast amounts of excess energy produced during sunny or windy periods and discharging it when generation drops, these massive battery farms ensure a smooth, uninterrupted flow of power. Sodium-ion batteries, with their low cost, incredible durability, and enhanced safety are the ideal technology to build out this essential infrastructure at the planetary scale our climate goals demand.
This market split has profound geopolitical consequences. The strategic leverage held by nations controlling critical mineral reserves begins to fade. Sodium-ion technology acts as what the source document calls a geopolitical pressure valve. It places a ceiling on how high lithium prices can be pushed, effectively de-weaponizing critical minerals. The new energy race won't be about who owns the rocks, but about who has mastered advanced manufacturing and technological innovation. Power shifts from resource control to intellectual prowess.
So, how do they actually perform? Well, beyond cost, sodium-ion batteries have some amazing advantages. First, safety. The chemistry is inherently more stable and less prone to thermal runaway, the dangerous chain reaction that can cause fires in lithium batteries. Crucially, they can be safely transported and stored at a complete state of discharge, 0 volts, a huge operational and safety advantage. They also demonstrate exceptional durability, with some commercial models rated for over 10,000 charge cycles. And their secret superpower? Cold temperature performance. Where lithium-ion batteries falter in the cold, sodium-ion batteries retain over 90% of their capacity, making them ideal for colder climates.
And then there's the cost, the primary economic driver. Battery-grade sodium carbonate costs a fraction of lithium carbonate. This fundamental raw material advantage translates all the way down to the final product. Industry leader CATL is already targeting a cell cost of just $40 per kilowatt hour for its next generation. What accelerates this is that sodium-ion cells are compatible with existing lithium-ion manufacturing infrastructure. Factories can be converted with minimal extra investment, allowing producers to achieve economies of scale almost overnight. This isn't a theoretical technology. Commercial frontrunners in China, India, and the US are already scaling up production. Beyond geopolitics and economics lies the planetary impact. The environmental footprint of sodium extraction is dramatically smaller than lithium's. Lithium extraction is notoriously resource-intensive, either by consuming vast amounts of water for brine evaporation in arid regions or through energy-intensive hard rock mining. In contrast, sourcing sodium from rock salt deposits or seawater is a far less invasive and damaging process.
Let's dig into that a little deeper. The water usage for lithium brine extraction is staggering. In Chile's Atacama Salt Flat, one of the world's driest deserts, lithium miners use millions of gallons of water per day, threatening fragile ecosystems and the water supplies of local indigenous communities. Hard rock mining for lithium, prevalent in Australia, requires crushing vast quantities of rock and using chemical processes that leave behind huge scars on the landscape and a significant carbon footprint. Sodium sourcing, by contrast, is far more benign. It can be derived from vast, easily accessible deposits of rock salt using conventional mining techniques, or even extracted from seawater. This isn't a minor difference. It's a fundamental shift toward a more sustainable and just resource sourcing model for our energy future.
This advantage extends to the end of the battery's life. The ability to safely discharge to 0 volts, combined with a simpler chemistry that avoids problematic materials like cobalt, makes recycling sodium-ion batteries inherently safer and potentially more efficient. The vision of a closed-loop, circular economy for batteries is significantly more attainable with sodium-ion technology. But perhaps the most profound impact of this technology is its potential to democratize energy and foster global equity. For many developing nations, the high cost and complex supply chains of lithium-ion batteries have been a significant barrier to widespread renewable energy adoption. Sodium-ion's lower cost structure makes solar plus storage and wind plus storage projects economically viable for the first time in many parts of the world. It enables nations to leapfrog over the old centralized grid model, much like mobile phones allowed them to bypass landline infrastructure. Take sub-Saharan Africa, for example. The region has immense renewable energy potential but faces huge challenges in energy access.
Transformative research partnerships are already forming to develop sodium-ion batteries specifically tailored for the African context, prioritizing thermal stability for hot climates and affordability for applications like electric motorcycles and off-grid solar. Crucially, the goal isn't just to import cheaper batteries, it's to build local value chains, fostering sovereign, sustainable energy industries on the continent.
So, to bring it all together, the rise of the sodium-ion battery isn't just an incremental improvement, it's an inflection point. It signals a fundamental shift away from a single, resource-constrained battery chemistry toward a diversified, resilient, and more equitable energy storage ecosystem. It decouples our energy future from the geological lottery of critical minerals. This liberation can unleash a new wave of innovation in grid management and enable truly affordable electric mobility, and provide a tangible pathway to energy access for emerging economies.
The societies and industries that recognize the strategic importance of this transition will be best positioned to lead in the sustainable energy economy of the 21st century. Thanks for tuning in to Mindcast. I'm Will. Until next time.